Grade 4, Module 6, Lesson 13, Homework. Problem number 1. Solve. Convert tenths to hundredths. I'm going to go ahead and underline that. Before finding the sum. Let's do that before finding the sum. Rewrite the complete number sentence in decimal form. Problem 1A and 1B are partially completed for you. So let's go ahead and look at 1A and see what they're asking us to do because they've started it right here. Letter A, it wants us to convert tenths to hundredths before finding the sum. So it says 5 and 2 tenths added with 7 hundredths. Well, in the last lesson, we learned that 2 tenths is the same thing as 20 hundredths, because remember we had that place value chart. If you took 2 tenths over to the hundredths, they each created 10 and you get 20 hundredths. So now we're looking at 5 and 20 hundredths plus 7 hundredths, and that's going to be 5 and 27 hundredths. I can't fit that all on that line. Sorry. And when I look at that in decimal form, 5 and 2 tenths added with 7 hundredths. If I had 2 tenths and 7 hundredths, that would be 5 and 27 hundredths. So I'm going to go down and try letter C. It says 6 and 5 tenths added with 1 hundredths. So I need to convert them to hundredths first. So it's going to be 6 and 5 tenths is going to be 50 hundredths. Added with 1 hundredths. And that's going to equal 6 and 51 hundredths. And then they want us to rewrite the complete number sentence in decimal form. So in decimal form, it would look like 6 and 5 tenths. Let me darken that decimal. Plus 1 hundredths. It's going to look like this. Make sure you get that 1 in the hundredths place, not the tenths place. And when you add this, you get 6 and 51 hundredths, which if we look at the fraction form, they are the same thing. Problem number 2. Solve. Then rewrite the complete number sentence in decimal form. So very similar to what we were just doing. So I'm going to go ahead and convert this into 4 and 90 hundredths. Added with 5 and 10 hundredths. So we can add our ones. 4 and 5 makes 9. And 90 hundredths plus 10 hundredths, that's going to make 100 hundredths, which is going to make another 1. So 4 plus 5 plus 1 equals 10. Again, those two fractions made 100 hundredths, which makes 1. So let's do that in decimal form. Here's the decimal part of it. 4 and 9 tenths added with 5 and 10 hundredths. 9 tenths and 10 hundredths, which also is the same thing as 1 tenth. So 9 tenths and 10 tenths makes 1. So 4 plus 5 plus our 1 makes 10. Same answer as in a fraction. I'm going to do letter C as well. Letter C gets a little bit messy, so let's see how clean I can keep this. 7 and 31 hundredths added with 6 and 87 hundredths. Now this is similar to a couple lessons ago where we used a number bond to break it down to create hundredths. 100 hundredths. So this one has a 30 hundredths right here. And if I could get this one to have a 70 hundredths, then that would make 1. So I'm going to create a 70 hundredths. And 70 plus 17 would make our 87. And now I think I'm going to use a different color to show what I am looking at next. So I have my 7 added with my 6. We can do that. And then I have this one right here added with this one, which is going to make a 1. So let's maybe write them down. I have a 7 added with my 6, added with my 1. That was from this 30 100ths and this 70 100ths. And the only thing left I have is to add 17 hundredths. Now you may not show all these steps. I'm just trying to make it as clear as possible so that you can follow. So 7 plus 6 makes 13, plus 1 makes 14, and 17 hundredths. So now let's go ahead and show the decimal version of this. I'm going to do that down here. This is decimal version. Let's go ahead and go back to black. So 7 3/10 is 7 3/10. Add that with 6 87 hundredths. And we can go ahead and break this down into a 7/10 and a 17 hundredths. I'm just going to treat it similar to what I did with the fractions. And a 3/10 and a 7/10 makes 1. So at this point we have a 7 plus 6, which makes our 13, plus 1, which makes 14, and 17 hundredths. So our answer will be 14 and 17 hundredths. And that's what it looks like as a decimal.